we didn't do we what did you we didn't do it in the Hamlet episode. Do you think that Hamlet is best picture worthy?
This is the cold open. You're asking me about fucking
We have
Hamlet,
to we have to finish the thread. It has to have all the pieces each episode. You know what I'm saying?
but this won't be in that episode. This will be in this
It doesn't
episode.
matter. People are watching them in order.
We're doing the movies deliberately out of order. There's literally no order you have to go in. But no, I don't know if you could
What?
clean it from. I don't think Hamlet's best picture worthy. I think it's a play put to film.
You're a fucking play.
Excuse you.
Hamlet is best picture worthy. You heard it here first.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best of. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar wieners, Oscar wieners, Oscar wieners. These boys are the Oscar wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar wieners.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners,
Smooth.
the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night sometimes has to take the hit and cover a movie that isn't so interesting. We've done it plenty of times.
Ouch.
We'll do it plenty of times more before the show is over.
I really hope it's not this time, is it?
Unfortunately, I think it basically is.
Really? I
yeah.
wish you didn't say that.
I am Foundling Evans Jones Linton.
And I'm Dom Scones.
That's pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah, it took me a while to. I was up all night coming up with that one, so I'm glad you like it.
No, I'm Michael. He's Ander, and this is a podcast where every week we pick a Best Picture winner at random and try to figure out if it's Best Picture worthy. And this week we're talking about, is it Tony Richardson? Is it Tony Richardson? It is Tony Richardson's 1964 Best Picture winner. JFK is assassinated in November, and the Academy decides to give the award to a nation grieving to this fucking bizarre ass movie about British shit.
This truly is a commentary on nothing. Like, this says nothing about the year 1964, right? I could not think
100%.
of a movie that says less about the audience that was viewing it.
It's Tom Jones, based on Henry Fielding's classic novel from 1749.
Oh, it's old.
It's really old, almost 300 years old.
Do people? You said you gave a little air quotes at acclaimed. Has it been received well? I mean, it was, I guess, well enough to be made into a film.
The thing is, like, historians, the thing with historians you got to be suspicious of is they're like, yeah, it's classic. Everybody knows that. I'm like, I've never read it and I never will. Does that make it classic?
That makes two of us. No.
Is it boring as shit? Probably.
Maybe it's just weird. It's probably, I mean, given the content of this movie, it's probably really weird.
Yeah. I'm curious, I guess, like how it is written, like if it's from somebody's point of view, or this movie takes like it has a narrator sometimes, it breaks the fourth wall. Like I do wonder what the novel's like.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the movie, I'm like, this has to have been written by chimpanzees because there is no cohesion whatsoever. But I guess that's just the book, right?
So, based on a novel, the titular Tom Jones, played by what's his face, Albert Finney, who, as a boy, he's discovered in the bed of Squire Allworthy, who's like he's like the lord of this manor or whatever,
super rich man.
Yeah, played by George Devine. Squire Allworthy is Tom Jones is literally a newborn baby is discovered in his bed when he comes home from like a trip or whatever, and he's like, whose baby is this? And then like they just like some people just point like his people just point their fingers at like some of that like two people who like work for him and are like probably them. And
Yeah,
he's
he's
like
like, get them the fuck out of my
and he's like
house.
they're fired, but I'm gonna keep their baby and kind of raise him for some
This
reason.
barber, he probably had sex with this fucking lady.
Yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
guess they're both fired. No further evidence is necessary.
yeah, so like the first hour of this movie is basically just Tom Jones is fooling around with is it Molly Seagram?
Yes.
Played by Diane Salento, who is sort of a very poor, like I think farmer's daughter in the area.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Um, Tom Jones is fooling around with her. At one point, you think like she gets pregnant. You think like he got her pregnant, but then like you find out she was also sleeping with somebody else, so it's his baby. And then Tom Jones. I'm just getting through this really quick, and then we can
Go ahead.
break it down. And then Tom
I think,
Jones.
yeah.
And then
I wonder
Tom.
if we should go ahead. Go ahead.
And then Tom Jones sees Sophie Western, played by Susanna York, who he's in love with. She's a much more proper lady. Her dad's a fucking asshole, but he's also like a rich kind of like guy in the area. He's maybe the richest guy like in the area, I think. Is the
Maybe.
implication.
He's also a spitting image of Mr. Bean.
Yeah, so he's in love with Sophie Western, who's like very proper and like is also in love with Tom Jones. And then like the first hour is them kind of going back and forth of like him kind of getting her attention and like her being in love with him, but then like she'll find out he was sleeping with fucking Molly again and like she gets pissed and it just goes back and forth. That's the first
He
hour.
loves her. He loves her, but he's also very non-committal, still sleeping with other women, just kind of just bopping around doing his thing, I guess.
Squire Allworthy gets in like a fucking gets in like a fucking wagon crash.
Yeah, there is a wagon crash.
And
His sister.
his sister dies. And then Squire Allworthy's nephew, the sister's son, who's like a fucking just the worst guy. He's one of these like evil guys who's like, why can't I be as charming as Tom Jones, and like resents him for it, and like he's just like he's just always looking for like a way to turn Allworthy's feelings of Tom Jones like turn them negative. Like I want you to hate Tom Jones.
He's the biggest wet napkin in this whole affair.
Do you know what is his name? Lord
George
George
Bilfil or Bliffle.
Bliffle, that's right. Oh my god,
Yeah.
he sucks.
He sucks, but he is technically Mr. Allworthy's nephew, and
Yeah.
therefore the heir to his fortune.
Right. So Allworthy, he survives the wagon crash, but he's sick. He gets like a fever, I guess, like just like whatever. After the crash, and like it's touch and go. He's like on his deathbed. He's like telling like Tom Jones, like, oh yeah, you're gonna get this like inheritance, and like he's just like doling out like who's gonna get what like of his estate. Then he survives.
Yeah.
And then Tom Jones really pisses off everybody because he's like, you guys really wanted him to die because you wanted what he was giving you.
Which is true.
Which is true, but they don't
Yeah.
like that.
No. It should also be noted that Bridget, his sister, Mr. Allworthy's sister, gives a note, discreetly delivers a letter to Wet Napkin George.
Right. And it's saying like, give this to Squire.
Yeah.
Because it's really important.
But George is like, I'm just going to pocket that and show nobody. How about that?
And then Tom Jones is like fucking, he's antagonizing everybody, and then they kick him out. That he's like drunk too while he's doing this. So they kick him out. They're like, get out of here. And then they see him like right after, they like follow him and they see him sleeping with Molly again, like fooling around with her like in a swamp.
Nice.
And Shrek style. And
Yeah.
then they like chase him and start beating him up. And basically they convince Allworthy, like, what did they convince him of? Like that he's just like rotten. It's like this guy sucks.
Convince him for shit. Allworthy loves Tom Jones. Allworthy is like Tom Jones. He's a character for sure, but he's got a good heart, and he will still get my fortune. So basically, everybody else in this rich estate is plotting against Tom Jones, basically trying to sabotage him to the point where he is no longer considered worthy of inheritance.
Right. So after this, yeah, he's basically he's kicked out. He's banished, and so yeah, he's
Yeah.
on the road to London.
Stops at a hotel. No, not yet.
Crazy shit happens. He gets involved with like first, before we get into because what did you think of the first hour of the movie?
Just the first hour.
Yeah, because I do think the movie's kind of separated into two parts where like I actually do think all the stuff that's like at least kind of fun about the movie is like the second hour.
Okay, first hour I do think is wildly boring.
So boring.
It is so dull and dry. Nothing. It's just that it's not even like down tempo. It's startlingly fast actually. Like there's so many crazy ass camera angles and editing choices and quick cuts and star wipes. Like they just got Final Cut Pro and they're like, let's do an iris in on this guy that we'll never see again for the rest of the film. That'll be fun. It is truly haphazard editing and music and everything else, but the content is boring. Nothing really happens or develops. You're like, okay, well, what's the point of this movie? Where are we going?
Yeah, that was my experience too. Is like I actually think like I don't know if it's good or not, but at least like it kept my interest that like yeah, the movie's doing crazy shit, like you said, with the camera, with editing. Again, like I didn't know that the fourth wall was going to be broken, and then like 20 minutes in, all of a sudden like Tom Jones looks at the camera and like winks, and I'm like, what the fuck?
So
I was like, he's looking at me.
I was so jarred by that. I was like, what the fuck is this? Well, the first few minutes, it is actually silent. A character will say something, it's completely muted, and then a black title card will pop up.
That's
and
right.
That
That's
exists
right.
for just the first 4.5 minutes, maybe. And you're like, well, what happened? What is that? What was that? Why did that exist?
And then there's a narrator.
Comes in, and he pops in like 5 times during the movie for like 30 seconds each. And you're like, what is his
To add
his
nothing.
role?
To add nothing.
Absolutely nothing. He hates Tom Jones, by the way. Every time he talks about him, it's like this very distinguished British gentleman, and he's like, Tom Jones is a fucking slag about. He doesn't say fucking, but Tom Jones is just a ruffian and blah blah blah. It's like, why are you here?
And like, were you interested at all in like the romance between Sophie and Tom? That do anything for you?
No, because it's not. One, it's not engaging, and two, it's not believable, and three, I just don't like them together. Like Tom is kind of just like going through his phase of like, I'm just gonna go sleep with a bunch of people, and fine, Tom, go ahead. But like, you can't. I just don't understand turning around, being like, actually, Sophie, I loved you all along, and then she's like, thank God you said that. All right, now let's get married. Probably. It's mostly like her chasing him to London. She's like trying to find him after he escapes town.
Yeah, because like her dad thinks that she's in love with Bliffle, but she isn't. She's like, no, I'm in love with Tom Jones, you idiot. He's like, that foundling. He doesn't have a family. Like, why you can't be with him?
Get inheritance. He's literally a bastard.
Right.
You can't marry him.
Yeah, you'll end up in the poorhouse. But like, the things with this movie is like, because like I can almost buy, like I almost think it is kind of funny that like Sophie, despite all evidence to suggest that Tom Jones is like you don't want to be in love with him because he's so flaky. He's gonna cheat on you. He's not like a bad guy like in terms of like because what's funny about Tom Jones, the movie and the character is like all the men around Tom Jones, besides like Squire, are so like bad.
The most vile human beings.
And it's like even like, and then you see Tom Jones like, oh, he's just like cheating on Sophie. So that does like make him better because he's not like hitting her or like yelling at her. He's not going to like commit violence to her. He's just like kind of
really together. Yeah, he's just a fuck boy.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
But like the movie, like I can almost buy like that these characters are so young that like she would just like kind of be like, oh yeah, I'll still be with him though, because like she's like a kid or whatever. But
I
like
guess, but it doesn't feel fulfilling.
it's like once it wants to make, and again, I don't know if the book is like this, but it wants to make fun of its characters,
Yeah.
but then also like I do feel like at the end when obviously Tom and Sophie end up together, like you're almost supposed to be like it's almost supposed to be like, oh, like true love prevailed. And I'm like, but these people are like jokes to me.
I don't. You're 100% spot on because the movie portrays almost all of these characters as bits. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
just like look at these silly. It's almost like look at these characters as spectacle, where they're providing hilarity and entertainment, even though it's still a pretty boring movie. But
Yeah.
at the end, it's like actually emotional climax. You cared about these characters all along, and no, I did not.
Yeah, it's like, not really.
No, they're gonna hang Tom Jones, and I was like, fine.
Um, yeah.
I would like to mention one potentially redeeming characteristic of the first hour of the film. The hounds scene, the release the hounds where they go on the hunt.
It's a really cool sequence, and it's
It's a
like,
very
yeah.
cool and propulsive sequence where they just like show like all the dogs chasing after. It's a hunt. It's a huge hunt with all these bloodhounds, and it's cool. It's very energetic, but it's also at the same time like to the aid of what? Like we're 40 minutes in, and I don't know what the thrust of the movie is. Like I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be rooting for. I don't know these characters really.
And like
So I don't.
maybe that I have whenever I read books that are about this old, like from the 17 or 1800s, I'm like, damn, they really like hadn't seen Star Wars yet. Like they don't know like how to like tell a story in a way that's like fully like everything is serving a goal. And like not that movies can't be or like stories can't be like more a little bit looser, but like you're just like I'm halfway through the movie, I don't even really know what I'm doing here yet, and like that's a problem.
You know what? They can't have it both ways. Like I think about because you know what? I take your point. I think about like storytelling in I'll say the 60s, even though this book came out in the 1700s. When did 2001: A Space Odyssey come out?
68.
So that is like the opposite end of the spectrum of Star Wars, even though they're both space movies. Like
Yeah.
this is a very loose, ethereal type of storytelling where it's just like it's just random points and threads of fabric.
Yeah, it keeps like jumping
Star
through
Wars,
time. Yeah.
right, exactly. Star Wars is more concrete, like plot driven, like here's our hero, here's what he's gonna do, here's the villain, and it's engaging in that sense. And this is like weirdly trying to straddle the border by being like, we're gonna throw in a 5-minute scene of people eating with no sound, and then we're gonna expect you to follow these characters. It doesn't work.
Yeah, so the first hour of this movie, I was, it seems like we're on the same page. I was sort of like, what the like I had to keep stopping it because I was like, I just like can't, I don't
Just
know
can't
what
do
this movie
man.
is doing, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And then the second hour, once Tom is exiled,
Yeah.
he it gets way more episodic and arguably even more disconnected, but at least like there's like action.
Yeah, there's stuff happening.
He keeps
You
getting
expect to see
into
soldiers.
Yeah, he keeps getting into misadventures and
Yeah.
and then Sophie's also looking for him. Like he saves for some reason. So he hooks up with these soldiers, these like British soldiers. I forget what they said they're fighting, but
Because one guy says he knew like everybody in the company slept with Sophie.
yeah, he's just
Even though
like,
he's just fucking around. He's like, oh, so because Tom Jones is like, let's have a toast to Sophie Western.
right.
And then one random soldier's like, well, I heard everybody fucked Sophie, so I guess fuck you. And he's like, take that back, you fucking dirty bastard.
And then he throws a fucking bowl at Tom's head and knocks his ass out, and everybody's like, he's dead.
I would have, and I was praying he was. I was like, it would be so fucking funny if Tom Jones is dead for the rest of the.
He got hit with a bowl of soup and he was out.
That would be hilarious if that's how he goes out.
And the next kind of misadventure he gets into is like he's just walking through the woods and he runs into that same British soldier who like has run because so they take him away after he apparently kills Tom Jones and they're like arrest him like the other soldiers like we're gonna whatever he's gonna
Yeah.
be hanged or we're gonna throw him in jail whatever. I guess he gets away, he runs away. So the next misadventure that Tom Jones gets to is he runs into this guy in the woods and he's like for some reason he's hanging a lady.
I think with the intent of raping this woman.
Right, but at first he's like tying a noose, like he's gonna lynch
I
her.
don't.
It's so weird and out of nowhere.
No.
And then Tom
It's
saves her.
immediate second beat, by the way. The callback is immediate. It's like, hey, remember that guy from literally 5 minutes ago that Tom Jones was fighting with? Now is his chance to go beat his ass.
And this woman, then he fucking takes this woman to a place, like they sleep together.
Yeah.
Eventually, well, we can get into it more. Eventually, you think for like half a second that that's actually his mom, but then it turns out it is.
Now you remember. Wait, let's stay in the hotel real quick because
Yeah,
I guess there's also a moment where like because they find him there, right? All the parties that are after Tom Jones find him at this random hotel.
right. Sophie's
with this
dad
woman
is
that he
is
rescued.
chasing him, or like maybe she's chasing Sophie, but then they run into Tom Jones, and then Sophie obviously is going after Tom. Yeah,
But then there's a fucking other guy who barges in and is like, "Hey, you're sleeping with my wife."
and
then-
he is, I guess, he's like Sophie's cousin's husband. And Sophie's cousin like ran away. 'Cause she's like, I hate my husband. I want to get away from him. And then like he's looking for him for her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like what
I
if
thought
we?
he was.
Yeah. And then I forget exactly what happens. Tom ends up in London. No, he meets who he thinks is his dad for a second, but isn't.
Sees him on the side of the fucking road.
Because this old man's just like robbing people,
Yeah.
but like
He's like,
doing
"Hey,
a
you
bad
used to be my-"
job.
Right. He's like, "You used to be my barber," and he's like, "Oh, I'm your dad." And Tom's like, "All right, dad, let's go fucking ride." And then it turns out it's not really his dad.
He's like, yeah, I didn't actually, none of that actually was true. They kicked me out for no reason. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. Again, what are we doing here?
What's the point of it all?
Tom ends up in London. He gets in a sword fight with the guy who potentially sexually assaults Mrs. Waters. He stabs him, doesn't kill him, stabs him, and then like, who paid off the guys to be like the instigators of like we gotta lock Tom up? Was it Bliffle who did that, or was it?
Yeah, fucking Bliffle.
He like paid off these
Dudes.
guys in London to be like, if you see Tom Jones, like follow him, and then they use the opportunity of Tom stabbing the cheating husband as a way to be like, this guy's gone off the deep end, like lock him up, we gotta hang him, and then like he's in jail.
Bliffle's still trying to secure Mr. Allworthy's inheritance.
Right.
So he's like, whatever we can do to set up Tom Jones and make him look like a scumbag, we will do so. Or kill him, get him killed. Is also fine.
Yeah, and then you think he's gonna get hanged. Uh-oh, he doesn't get hanged.
No.
Because you find out Mrs. Waters goes to Squire and is like, he's like, oh, hey, aren't you Tom's mom? When I haven't seen you in 20 years or whatever. And she's like, yeah, so it turns out that actually wasn't true. Like, actually, here's the secret. And he's like, what? And then somehow somebody finds out that Bliffle had that paper that like his mom left for him. And then you find out
him.
Yeah, and then you find out like Tom was actually Squire's sister's son. Right?
So yes. This is all, by the way, explained to us in an exposition dump, told directly to camera. Miss Waters just like stops.
Yeah.
And is like, by the way, here's what was in the note.
Doesn't the screen go like
not
black?
His mom.
Doesn't the background go black around her and she's like almost like spotlit kind of thing, or no?
Yeah, yes, actually. Yeah, the background does like fade out a little bit. She's like, turns out I'm not really Tom's mom, in case anyone was worried about that whole incestual fucking pile of
worms.
Sure, pile of worms. She's like, actually, what was in the note was that it turns out Tom is Mr. Allworthy's real nephew, and George is, I don't know, George.
Who, Bliffle?
Yeah, Bliffle is.
Yeah, who is Bliffle? I was like, why isn't he entitled to the inheritance? Is he not actually her son?
It turns out he's
Or he's like not the
he's the
firstborn?
sister's son. He's Bridget's son. No, he's. I don't fucking know.
Who
He's
cares?
Mr. All. Who gives a shit? He's Mr. Allworthy's nephew,
Right.
but not by blood. Like maybe he had a. I don't know. But their roles swap. He and Tom switch, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, no, actually, this guy's a fucking bastard child, and Tom is my actual blood nephew
Yeah.
because he was Bridget's son, which that's not explained. Like,
Is everybody at home still? Are you clocking all this? You're paying
I
attention?
hope
You're
you're
taking
not.
notes?
I really hope you're gone.
Are you
Keep it on
fast
for-
forwarding?
Christ. Anyway, that's Tom Jones.
Yeah, he ends up.
Anything
He
else?
go. They say, "Go. Hey, listen. If you love Sophie, go find her and give her a big old kiss and tell her you love her." And then he does, and then the movie ends, and
Yeah.
it ends, and it's
Um,
happily ever after.
Did we miss anything? He's a part-time juggalo at one point, or gigolo, or maybe not. Maybe he's just like sleeping with an old lady.
Right. What old lady is he sleeping with? Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot all about that too. That's like Sophie's cousin too.
They're
Who's-
all
Everybody's fucking related in this.
I don't know. All these high society people are always related. Could you imagine the British still ruled us?
Oh my god, that would suck.
That'd be insane.
I wouldn't even be able to go
This-
outside and get fucking Burger King. I'd never be able
Burger
to.
King would not exist. The show would be called Oscar Crumpets or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Oscar blood sausages.
Oscar Blood.
Those
Sausages.
freaks.
Yeah.
One
Embarrassing.
other thing that I thought was kind of funny is
Yeah.
at one point when so Sophie's aunt is also like a big character in this movie. We don't have to talk about her because she's boring, but
She's so boring. I really.
she's just like really like whatever. She's also a wet blanket, but when she's telling Sophie's dad that Sophie's in love with Tom Jones, they're in like a farm area, and like in between her telling like shots of her face and Sophie's dad's face, they're cutting to shots of the farm animals like perking up. They're like and like listening.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? I thought it was
So
kind of
funny.
funny, but I was like, this is so weird.
They just like will randomly cut to geese and swine. It's so unhinged. I almost want to recommend this just so I'm not speaking into the void here. Like
It has to be
you'll
seen to be
what we're saying.
believed.
Yeah. The amount of random bullshit that they do is really something to behold.
Yeah.
You won't like it. It's not enjoyable or irreverent or fun. It's just what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, it's Tom Jones.
That's Tom Jones.
It's not like I don't think it's like horrible. I just think it's like pretty unengaging. Even
I think
despite how hard it's trying to be engaging.
Right. I think it's just about as worse as it could be.
Okay.
Just for how unengaging and hard to follow it is.
Right. I gave it 2.5 stars, if that's any indication of
Where are those coming from? I think that's too high.
I think
That's
I do think the style, like even if like I'm sort of like, what is all this? Like I'm still like, this is like still kind of listen, it looks better than fucking Cavalcade. You know what I mean? Like it's doing more stuff than Cavalcade.
Cavalcade came 20 years before it. I mean, this movie looks good, I guess. It's just the editing and camera work is
It just has a lot of
hard.
energy, and I have to give it a few stars for that.
It's like it's as if you downed like 80 pixie sticks and then were just strapped to a chair. Because it's so
Right.
crazed, but it's completely inert at the same time.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
That's a great metaphor. Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
I would never watch it again, but I don't think it's certainly not the worst we've ever, at least for me, that we've ever covered on this
All right.
fucking show.
Crash is shooting up my rankings, by the way.
That's crazy. I think this is better because it didn't
I just-
offend me in the way that Crash did. Even though Crash I would
It's all-
watch today. I would watch right now. If you put on Crash, I would watch it right now.
100% correct. It's like 80 minutes long. I'm
Yeah.
watching it in a heartbeat right now. As offensive as it is to me.
Yeah. So that's Tom Jones. Would you like to hear the other Best Picture nominees for the year of 1964?
Yeah.
First up, we have an Elia Kazan. He's back. That turncoat
Wow.
fuck.
He's still chugging. I guess he would. How old is he at this point?
He died in 2003. He was born in 1909, so I guess damn, he's like in his 50s
Long
by
life.
now.
He's
Yeah.
almost 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
So America, America, it's called. His favorite subject.
Nice. A country so nice they named it America.
This one seems personal to him because I believe he's a Greek man. So this one is about a young
Yes.
Anatolian Greek
Okay.
entrusted with his family's fortune and loses it en route to Istanbul and dreams of going to America.
Whole synopsis?
That's it.
All right.
Um,
Simple enough.
It is
Push up.
2 hours and 54 minutes.
Oh.
No thanks.
Bye-bye.
Next up, we have a movie it's fun that it comes back because it's one of those movies that I think we've mentioned in a few episodes. And now we get to talk about it. It is Joseph L. Mankiewicz's
Nice.
Cleopatra,
Oh, okay.
the famous kind of boondoggle. Yeah, and it is about Cleopatra, obviously, who, determined to hold on to the throne, seduces the Roman Emperor, Julius Caesar. When Caesar is murdered, she redirects her attentions to his general, Mark Antony, who vows to take power, but Caesar's successor has other plans. So next up is, I think, also kind of a famous mess, but also a very famous Western. It is How the West Was Won.
Okay. I would describe myself as a famous mess.
Yeah. I think that fits. I think this movie had on Letterboxd, it was directed by Henry Hathaway, John Ford, who's a very famous Western director, and George Marshall. I want to say people kept getting fired and then were replaced. I think it was a mess in that way.
Like actors kept getting fired?
Directors.
Oh, okay. That is
or whatever. It's just one of those kind of really messy productions. It's also pretty long. It's almost 3 hours, 2 hours 45.
Jesus.
And
What's
it
it
is
called again?
How the West Was Won.
Oh, yeah.
Not to be confused with How the West Was Fun, starring the Olsen twins from the 90s. That's real.
How the West Was Fun?
Yeah.
What do they go on
They go to a dude ranch, I think.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They probably befriend a horse or whatever.
That seems nice. I like that.
Yeah. So How the West Was Won is the epic tale of the development of the American West, spoilers, from the 1830s through the Civil War to the end of the century, as seen through the eyes of one pioneer family. So it covers a massive span of the American story or whatever.
It's still 2 hours less than Cleopatra.
It's fair. It's a good point. This is one of those movies that I talked about my great uncle at one point, recently. Yeah. I feel I remember him being yeah, How the West Was Won. What a picture. It's one of those movies that the old people were that's a movie.
Well, if your great uncle liked it, then maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it one day. Why not? I like Westerns. One of my favorite genres, honestly.
Clint probably loves it.
And finally,
how you doing? How are you?
I'm fine. I'm ready to go to bed. Finally, we have who directed this thing? Ralph Nelson, who I feel has come up. It is the Sidney Poitier starring, who I think he won Best Actor for this movie. It is Lilies of the Field.
Ooh.
And it is about an unemployed construction worker heading out west who stops at a remote farm in the desert to get water when his car overheats. The farm is being worked by a group of East European Catholic nuns.
Okay.
Sorry, that was from left field. Headed by the strict Mother Superior, who believes the man has been sent by God to build a much-needed church in the desert.
Could you imagine just being stopped on the side of the road? You have a flat tire or whatever, and someone's like, "We think the Lord sent you here for us. Build us a fucking house."
He's I'm really just trying to get to Oregon.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hit the road, man. Please stop for some chips. That's really it.
Yeah,
I just wanted some bugles.
So that's the those are the best picture. That Lilies of the Field, if nothing else, it's 94 minutes. So
Give it the Oscar.
yeah, honestly, please give it to Lilies of the Field.
I'll side with your great uncle, actually.
Now the West was one.
Yeah.
All right.
Even though I haven't seen it, I'll give it an Oscar. Why not?
Sure.
I got the power. Do you think this film, Thomas Jones, is Best Picture worthy?
No,
Me neither.
not at all.
You want to know who does?
Sure.
Give me the name of somebody who is just absolutely ranting and or raving about Tom Jones.
It's gotta be Squire Allworthy.
Squire fucking Allworthy says 5 big, fat, juicy stars. Absolutely the most wonderful comedic romp. Tom Jones is a hilarious romp through the 1700s upper crust gentrified England. Tom Jones, played by a very young Albert Finney, is a foundling raised by a country squire. Tom Jones is just a creature of pleasures of the flesh. Susanna York, also deliciously young, is wonderful as the proper but horny, beautiful epitome of true love.
Delicious. Don't ever put the words delicious and young next to each other, please.
She was delicious.
Ugh.
Squire Allworthy goes on to say, this was one of my favorites as a very young kid of 9 when it came out. It's a bit bawdy for kids. It is hilarious. The erotic eating scene, done with no dialogue, was marvelous. Disagree. As one who has won a best screenplay competition, I know how difficult it is to describe scenes such as this. Everything must be shown, not told, in expository fashion. I once wrote a 3-minute and 40-second undressing scene that is unmistakably erotic.
Shut up.
Yet no flesh is shown. My son, reading over my shoulder, said, "Dad, you're such a perv," he squawked. No, Ian, countered. A perv would describe a guy smearing a female mannequin with mayonnaise. I guess I did it well, for that script had won over 2 others that I also made it to the finals.
What the fuck are you talking about? That's real?
It's real. Yeah, you just loved it.
I hope that guy's in jail. Also, why are 70-year-olds on fucking Letterboxed?
He was.
Can young people not have anything?
This is not Letterboxd, by the way.
Oh,
I pick from the internet. That means
okay.
Okay. No, this guy would never set foot on Letterboxd in a million years.
Because I was like, what? Because he said he was 9 when it came out. I was like, he must be like fucking 70 years old.
On the contrary, give me one of those Eastern European Catholic nuns. And tread lightly. The Pope is dead.
Connie Borscht.
Oh, that's good. Connie Borscht says, 1 star. If there is a God, why does he allow people to suffer through this movie? If you think it's funny to watch people kick dogs and have sex with their own parents, then this movie's for you. Albert Finney looks about 15 years too old to portray the virile title character in this adaptation of the 18th century novel. The plot, if you can call it that, is a little hard for me to describe since I'm expending a tremendous amount of energy trying to block it from my mind.
All right.
That's 2 hours of my life I can't get back.
All right, Borscht.
Thank you, Miss Borscht.
Connie.
Give me the name of a big, fat, stinky bulldog, but is also a really nice guy.
Joe Torre.
Joe Torre catching a random stray. 1 star. Absolute, period. Total, period. Fuckery, period. Horny, period. Messy, period. Tom Jones is what happens when the LSD wears off and the reality of the room starts to come back into focus. And for some reason, everyone's wearing 1700s era clothes. How did this happen?
Yes, thanks for those reviews.
Thank you. Just in general.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
For being you.
Thanks, man. Thank you for being you. We're going to continue this trend of talking about movies that I don't want to talk about.
Awesome. I'm so glad you said that.
just to pull the Band-Aid off a lot of these festering wounds. You know what I'm saying?
I really wish you wouldn't describe it like that, but yeah.
So next week we're going to talk about the 1936 or 7 Best Picture winner, the 3 hour and 6 minute musical,
I really wish
The
you had
Great Ziegfeld.
I'm praying
Or
for you to
Ziegfeld,
say
excuse me.
other words. I just really wish the words that you
3
said
hours,
would be
186 minutes, a musical drama, The Great Ziegfeld.
maybe it's great. Maybe it's a masterpiece.
It's not going to be. But until next time, if you ever find yourself in the English marshes, I don't know, and you're people are like, hey, you're a foundling, you're a bastard, you don't have a cent to your name.
Yeah.
I want you to put a hot dog in their corker and tell them to fucking suck on it.
Nice.
Tell them to shut their stupid mouths. Okay? Bye-bye.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white, maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
Sounds like I should have gotten a career as a toaster fixer.
Yeah.
Not because I'm good at it, because if I learned it, this is a skill that people are not going to have in 20 years.
We're not gonna have fucking toast in 20 years. Kidding?
Well, that's not, no, I think that's not what I was saying. I'm saying,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. For
I
sure.
think we'll still have toast.
For sure. We're on the same page. I don't know why you're like making a big
No,
deal
it
out of
sounds
it.
like you think that there's some sort of dystopian future ahead of us where toast doesn't exist, and that's not what I'm saying.